Alright, everybody, welcome to week 13. You know it's going to be a great week when it's week 13.
It's gonna be lots of high rolls by the DM and low rolls by the players.
Aww. Oh, hey, can I have my dice back?
No. You might need those.
Nah!
I'll be fine. Net 20 on everything.
So yeah, currently you guys are still at the Stargazer, which is, yeah, the giant statue of Gibbers.
In elf form.
In elf form. Yeah, oh gosh. Oh no. Gibbers finds a time machine and is like, I must sue these elves! they're taking my name. It's trademarked, I tell ya.
Well, the thing is, it probably is.
Yeah, yeah. And,
well, we know where we're going, because we found saw the giant building off in the distance.
okay.
I think we're going that way. Yep. They also happen to be the way the person ran.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
So they have whatever breakfast needs eating.
I'm just gonna go throw up in this corner real quick.
What's
We're gonna
morning?
try and not eat them.
Morning
So
sickness,
pots.
you know.
Well, you asked me last night. I don't know if this was in the video. I don't know where you cut. Oh no, you recorded it. I remember you recorded.
Yeah,
you
because
were
I was like,
recording.
can I have a pot for
Yeah,
my baby?
I'm
And
gonna-
you're like, yeah. I'm
I'm
like,
gonna give
yay.
you one of my pots.
Ah, thank you. You can be the god.
So I
the
can, I
godfather.
can be the godfather of your baby.
You do realize that if I die, you have to take care of my babies now,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
That's how that works.
Or
Some
you
people
can put
don't
it in your
know.
will for your next character.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Your next character is like actually your mother.
All of a sudden, I don't know why she would be on this planet, honestly. But who knows? That'd be fun.
Alright, tell me again why you want to have.
I just want to live through it. I just want to, because I can have a little group.
Let me tell you about.
No,
Let me tell you about human
you don't
women
have
when
to
she's half
compliment
of.
me so well.
They just want babies.
Wrong.
Whoa, hey, now, buddy.
Right, but you're a Strix, so.
I come from a backwoods planet. Like that's probably my conception. You know, like,
Conception.
He's like Data, but as a bug instead of a robot. Like, I totally know how to human. Listen to this human music I
I
found.
just made an algorithm
I already
today
lost.
to grow.
Ben, I already lost my D20 of my pretty dice. I don't know where it went.
I'm building a daughter.
Well, it's not a very, like, good box. It's a little puny box that opens all the time.
Oh, if you need another D20, I got plenty of terrible
I'm
ones.
sure I'll find it in my car. I have a D20.
Oh, here's a D20 that killed my character and
Oh, thank you. Very nice. Gotta just, like,
killed my character and
blast
then
that
like
off if I can.
killed my character in 3.5 and then the Sunday after it nearly killed all you guys.
Yeah, let's not have that nice anyone near the table, please.
Now, how long is it gonna take before my pot starts to smell? Like, I'm wondering.
You already tried to smell it.
Yeah, I already
That's if I didn't
failed.
wash
That's
it.
why I'm wondering how long
Wait,
it's gonna take for them.
Shouldn't you wash your pots, though, before you use them to cook?
I'm not gonna cook. I'm gonna eat a ration.
No, but shouldn't you wash your pots? before
Like
you
every
use them?
day?
I don't know.
Are you
Are you
telling me
using-
this? Like, is Thomas Jackson telling me this, or are you telling me this?
So,
So, you want me to
There
wash?
is no difference.
I'm the same person.
Like, you haven't washed the pot I gave you.
I didn't do that one.
Is there some reason? You didn't. You said my pots. I assume that's all of them.
All of the pots. I don't know, I'm just saying, if you cook with the pots, you should wash them.
I'm not cooking
Hygiene,
right now.
I guess. Okay, fine.
Okay, you-
Cook on this. Cool.
Do you think I should wash my pots?
No. Why would you need to wash your
Washed
pots?
them
Yeah, you wash
Yeah,
them last time.
like
so,
that's why it's like
Yeah.
why would I watch them all the like are
Yeah.
you gonna watch the one I gave you?
I mean, yeah, I probably will wash the one you give me.
Maybe I'll wash my pots. Like if you're gonna wash your pot, I'll wash mine.
Okay.
I gotta do what like all the popular kids are doing.
I gotta do the pop.
Pot makes everyone nervous.
Just makes me giggly.
Makes me
But so does
paranoid.
being nervous. Okay. What are we doing?
Well, currently you guys are still at your camp
Okay.
near the Stargazer.
Okay.
I'm eating a ration.
There's a building in that direction.
You might need to eat a ration, like, because I'm not cooking you anything. But you get like
I'm pretty sure I ate it last night when we woke up. Or
Last night
last
when we
week.
woke
Shut up.
yeah, last
Last week when we woke up.
you ate a week
Right.
ago.
Yes. Anyway, regardless, I have eaten at this point.
I mean, like, I'm not a doctor. Like, I know you die of starvation, and like it takes a few weeks, doesn't it?
Yeah, 3.
Doesn't a doctor
As long as you have water.
Oh wait, I'm kind of sketched out by him now. Out of character. No, I feel like you'd say that in character. No, I would just not. I would say it to them like in front of you.
Don't bother talking about him behind his back. Say it to his face. I am sketched the out, bro.
Okay, so what did Beato? What did you see with the stars last night? Interesting things.
Like what?
I feel like you're being intentionally vague, sir.
Because I don't know astronomy.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember. I feel like I remember he looked at them and didn't know what the f he was doing.
That's why I have pictures.
Oh, you have pictures.
Wait, so you took
I
pictures
know
of the
enough to
stars?
take pictures
do you
of stuff.
know
but I
astronomy?
don't
Do I know astronomy? Astronomy? Apparently I don't. I don't know how to say the word. What would that be under?
Is that the same as astrology? I can tell you my sign. It's orbital blots.
Mysticism? I would not know that.
You can use mysticism,
Please don't
otherwise
let me use it.
otherwise I think like astronomy as a science would be physical science.
Yeah, it's physical.
My physical science is not better. I don't have that.
I don't have any science.
Yeah, I only have
Not a
life
sciencey
science.
person.
I mean, like,
I have
I'm not
one
saying it's physical
mysticism.
science in the game, but in
I can
real
try
life,
and roll a nat 20. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have any boosters. I got 12.
Okay.
And my mysticism is 1, so 13.
Okay. Yeah, you look at the pictures that Beato has on his comm, and you figure that it might be related to the stars, but you're mainly saying that because that's obvious.
Stars, yes.
Yes, that is what they are. Congratulations. Proud.
You know that they would have like some kind of cultural significance with the Oasian elves, though.
Okay.
Whatever that significance is, you're not entirely sure because it's a constellation, like one constellation that is like highlighted above a lot of other constellations. And the reason why they would have this constellation highlighted specifically, you're not entirely sure why. One thing that you do know based on your mysticism check is that there are 12 of these stars etched into the ground, and you do remember mention of a Temple of the 12.
Ah,
So,
yes.
maybe maybe the reason why they etched this particularly down here is because this Temple of the 12 has something to do with it. And you figure you'll find more information there.
We should go to the Temple of the 12.
Do you know the way?
I'm assuming it's that way. I'm just pointing in the direction.
That would makes sense. There's a giant building over that way.
I remember
Let's go to
hearing
the
the
giant
Temple of the 12. What, didn't you tell us about that from like your conversation with the Devourer
Yes.
person?
Your telepathic conversation.
I'll say person because I mean
Devourer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Cult, for lack of a better word, is over there with their leader. Naren, Saren, something like that.
Saren.
Bobby Fett.
At this point, I don't care. I just want to get that professor back, and if it requires killing all of them, so be it.
Whoa! I think like we
Damn,
should. Wait.
I have been hiking through the jungle for well over a week now.
It's been a couple weeks for you. For that
Maybe we can convert some of the
been a
Devourer
bit.
like
It's
for
been
a
a
long while.
it's been a fair bit.
I don't know. They do like to die. It might be kind of pointless.
Let's just give them what they want.
Just give them what they want.
You like the devil sitting
Here,
on my
here.
shoulder.
I think we should try and save them.
Say.
And how do you propose we do that?
Oh,
You can
wait
talk
a
to Silva.
second. This is like very out of character for her. I want to hear your reasoning.
Well, I agree with Viana. Let's
I'm
just give
trying
them
to
what they
be
want.
nice, okay?
Hello, have you heard of our Lord and Savior, insert goddess that Nara worships here?
Lord and Savior Abadar, you can save your
What
life if you have coin.
What if the
Yes.
Devourer religion is like the one true religion? What if the Devourer is like was sent by Abadar?
There is no one true.
No. The best explanation for Devour is it's just a giant black hole.
Oh, I like
everything.
holes in the color black.
All right.
Sign me up.
So I want to roll
Trivia.
Oh, yeah,
You're
you're
gonna-
motive.
Sense motive.
Sounds about
Okay, trivia time. Who here at the table actually knows something about the Devourer out of character?
I do not. I know
I
nothing. No one knows anything.
Okay. It's not necessarily common knowledge. I want to say it's uncommon knowledge, but still out there. If anybody wants to give me a culture check, to know something.
I would just assume it's a giant black hole.
10.
14. The Devourer is the Devourer is essentially like, let me put it this way. It's kind of like Sithis from Elder Scrolls. He's basically like, before creation there was the void, and the Devourer cultists believe that, from the void everything was brought forth, and to the void everything shall one day return. And they're basically trying to expedite the process because they believe that's what the Devourer wants.
So kind of like the cult of chaos in Greece. Except I don't know if they were all about like everything returning to chaos at the end. They thought everything came from chaos.
Well, yeah. Maybe not so much like that, but they believe they're trying to bring about the apocalypse because they believe that's what the Devourer wants. As for black holes, like a lot of natural disasters, a lot of things like black holes, like the destruction, like supernovas, basically just straight up natural disasters and causes of destruction.
I think so. It's just like
A lot of people attribute that to the Devourer. So you're technically right, Hanson.
Okay.
Though I wouldn't say
think-
he's a single black hole.
I think if Viato thinks it, I will believe you because you're
It's
the
like a sentient black hole.
sentient
devours-
black hole.
he
Is that a
devours
thing?
everything.
Are there like sentient stars in this universe?
Sentient suns.
Time in the universe is infinite. So yes.
Are we in Doctor Who?
Are we in Doctor Who? Sure.
What?
There's an episode with the sentient star. I didn't much care for it. The girl was a good singer though.
Anyways, shall we get moving?
Yeah, I guess.
Talk about washing pots and eating rations.
No.
And the Devourer.
We haven't talked about washing pots in a while, so.
We washed our pots.
We argued about washing our pots.
I washed
Oh, did you wash your pots?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the same as doing.
I don't know.
I washed mine because you were going to wash yours.
Have you washed your pots today? This PAC brought to you by the Packed Worlds Administration of Healthy Living.
Well,
Did it have health tea?
Dr. Jackson seems to know where to go.
Do I? Oh yeah, that's right. I've been the navigator for a while now.
Well, don't we have an idea?
We're supposed to go. It's a
What is
giant
it, survival?
building over
Yeah,
there.
it's over there.
Yeah, you don't need to give me a roll.
Okay.
You pretty much know where to go.
Okay. So we saw it. We did see it.
So yeah, you guys walk for, I want to say about, oh boy, how long do you guys want to walk? Because by the time you guys are done, you know,
15.
all right,
15 hours.
you guys walk for 15 hours, and it's relatively uneventful. You see like a lot of vegetation. Vegetation in like varying colors. Actually, you walk past like a fern that is like blue and red, and you've never really seen anything like it on any planet
If
before.
we're walking for 15 hours, I don't think we should go all the way like up to this place. I think we should camp out like
Yeah.
a little bit away.
I don't want to check it out in the dark.
Yeah.
That's the problem with checking out in the dark.
Yeah, but we've been walking for 15 hours.
We've been walking.
so
I'm exhausted.
I don't know. I don't know
exhausted.
how like you how sleep and exhaustion works for you, but for the rest of us, like we're gonna need to
I
sleep.
sustain myself on pure seething essence.
Do you remember what happened last time you tried to go it alone?
Yeah,
I
like
wasn't planning on going
I don't
alone.
think you should go alone
Please
because
don't go
you have this tendency to almost get killed.
I mean, it's
If
just
you're
another
doing it on
time. I'll be
purpose.
back.
I'm gonna try to find a place to camp that's like a decent, like a reasonable distance. Like what do you think is like a good maybe like a,
Like an
a
hour
mile
away from here. Yeah. A mile an hour.
Do you want to give me a perception check?
Just him or everyone?
Hmm?
Everyone or just?
Just him.
20.
Natural 20.
Natural.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, you figure that from where you are standing, you're about 2 or 3 hours away from it, like already.
Okay.
From where you're going.
All right. Yeah, this is a good place to set up camp.
Cool.
I'm just gonna go puke in these bushes or.
You also seem to be near a mountain range, but you're not close enough to the mountain range to like try and find any caves in there. Like basically, if you're here and you're going this way, the mountain range is kind of like, or not parallel, yeah, perpendicular to you guys.
Orthogonal.
Yeah. Never heard that one before.
Smart words. Smart words.
Quick,
It's not
let's
smart
let's
words.
find the normal of this of the mountain. Normal is a math word. I once had a teacher, like we were doing multivariable calculus, and he was like giving an example, and he's like, think of the curve as the sphere as my head, and plane as like the intersection, and this my pencil is like the normal of it.
That sounds exactly like how Gregor would explain calculus.
Yes.
And funny enough, I'm still getting like a headache trying to think of it.
All we're saying
Hey,
is I
like-
wish to go set up a simple trap.
Alright, do you want to give me a survival check?
Not
We-
20.
We've still
Alright.
got
I set up the those traps.
Set up.
You describe this trap, because whatever
It's
you
like-
make is going to be masterful, practically.
It's like those it's like having it on a like a spring sort of thing that like when they come into it they knock the part out and then it traps them.
Okay.
So it's like I don't know, like a noose or like a box or something.
Okay.
That kind of trap.
Hey, Beato, you want to set up like a smaller trap for like a rabbit or something, so we can have some like breakfast?
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's your. I thought your trap was like for defense.
But you think I'm gonna set up a trap to defend against that giant dino from before?
Well, like
Even bigger man-eating dinos?
I don't. Well, I don't think those were dinosaurs.
Whoever they were, they're terrifying and they chased me for a good 10 minutes.
Yes,
They wanted to eat me.
They chased me too. I
didn't see you moving around that field.
I rode one of them. It is true. Nara saw me.
I did.
And then it kicked me off, and I cowered next to a tree.
Okay,
That's about right.
I'll take first watch.
Wait. Even sullying myself. No, I didn't sully myself. So when that happens.
You sullied your good reputation.
Yeah, I thought like the smaller traps were for like like people like the Devourer cult and stuff that was
Smaller traps.
going to.
I'm just gonna stay awake, and if they come, I'll dominate their minds.
Phrasing. I think we need to.
Context.
We need to get you like a tape recorder or something so you can like listen to yourself sometime.
I say exactly what I mean, and I mean exactly what I say.
Subtext? What subtext?
I'm gonna start calling you Tobias.
When I say I move to dominate their mind, I'm physically going to dominate their mind
Physically, eh?
and make them hurt each other.
It's
Well,
Quite the mind there.
I'm gonna start setting up
One of my
camp.
powers is literally called Mind Thrust.
Oh,
That's literally the name of one of my spells, okay?
You know what? Who said Starfinder wasn't for kinky people?
Someone had fun writing this game. I'm gonna start setting up camp if anybody wants
I'll
to join
take
me.
first watch.
Yeah, I'll set up camp as well. Do I have to do a fortitude check?
You're gonna need to do 2 fortitude checks.
No, which dice do I roll? The 20?
Yep. You
So-
roll an d20. You
I
add
will
fortitude.
I will take the second watch.
Actually, no, I'll take last watch.
No, alright.
Okay, the first one was a 19.
Do you want to take
Okay.
first watch?
That's gotta be it. That's gotta be
I
over,
think
like-
I think we should only do 3 watches though. I think we should let Doctor.
Second one was 4.
I think we should.
All right.
We should let
want
Dr.
to-
Jackson.
But I just got it!
Well, I mean,
So you go up by 1.
on the chart.
So another thing that you want to do, you've marked how many times you were hit by a Cassard, right?
I think it did.
All right.
Somewhere.
So one of
Twice.
those.
I have 2 spores.
Okay, so if you want to mark one of those spores, put a check mark by it, because you made one of your saves.
I assume she goes up 1 on the disease track.
She does.
Okay.
One on the disease.
Now, you're exhausted and sickened, but on top of that, anytime you take a standard action, you immediately lose 1 hit point.
Dude. Oh, God. I don't
It is considered non-lethal damage, so if you knock yourself
Okay.
out, you're not going to be dying.
Okay. So
You'll just
non-lethal.
be unconscious.
So
but
what is it, standard action?
every time you take a standard action, so you can take swift actions without doing it, but anything that's a standard or full action, you lose a hit point.
Is she looking like more plump, like pregnant, or getting bolt, like her
Not at all.
weird bulges somewhere?
Really
She-
pale.
She
looks the
she
same.
looks normal, despite the fact that she looks very wobbly, like she's about ready to fall over any second.
Well,
Pale, and probably, puking
is-
your guts out
that
every
is the
second
next
of every
A little
stage.
day.
bit. Well, I'm sick and not nauseous.
Well, I
so
think,
I'm just,
Miss-
weird.
Miss Jackson, since she's expecting, we shouldn't make her take a watch.
Oh, that's
We
nice.
should just divide it between the three of us.
Now, whose fault is it that she got pregnant?
It's not my fault.
I didn't want it. I mean,
Abadar,
I did, but like, that doesn't mean I
Abadar
chucked
blessed
in front of
her.
the needles or anything. Abadar.
Here, I'll give you 100 credits for the
Under
blessing
Abadar's
of.
eye.
Oh, okay. All right.
Under
Yes,
his eye.
thank you. Sure, I'll take 100 credits. Thank you for your donation.
This will help my new pots for my children.
He's donated 100 credits and a pot.
You're a good godfather. You can call me Fat Tony.
That has nothing to do with it.
Not Fat Tony, Fat Tony.
Okay.
So who's taking first touch?
Nara.
I thought you were.
No, I'm taking last touch.
Apparently, I'm not taking any more.
Now, like if I take the middle watch, will I be able to read any hit points?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Even if you guys take watch, I'm just gonna say that you guys, like...
Because you're not really doing anything, you're just awake.
And again, it's not full hit points, it's full
Yeah,
stamina and resolve.
it's my level.
Yep.
So I'm up to 27.
Do you need some healing?
I'm at 20. I'll be at 27 at the end of the night. So
I mean, I have a level med has all 1 slots.
I don't need healing. I'm tough.
I'm tough.
Fat Tony needs to. He can take a hit.
Interesting.
What was it?
Do you need healing?
I think I'm good. I don't know. I thought we rested already.
But thank you.
That's apparently what I am, a mobile healing station.
I forgot my my email address is sexy bucket Starfinder.
Is that actually what you made your Starfinder email?
It is. I remember.
Sex-
Canon.
Sexybug at starfinder.com.
.org.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yes, I was told it was unprofessional.
I was told it was.
You were
Yeah,
specifically
don't
told it
say-
was you were specifically told, I agree with you, bugs are sexy, but it is unprofessional.
I like to mix business and pleasure.
Right, yeah, that was the response, too.
Oh God.
Oh.
So, does anything happen on watch 1? Who's taking watch 1 again? You.
Okay.
Now, you should ask the question, not me.
Does
I'm
anything
taking last
Does anything happen? Well, it's relatively quiet. You, can definitely... You take in, like, the sights and the sounds around you. It's dark, save for the bioluminescent plants that are nearby, kind of lighting up the area. You see some, like, some fireflies off in the distance, kind of like running around each other, flying around each other. You thought you heard like maybe the crack of a stick off in the distance, and maybe like a ruffling of leaves. You go to check what it is, and you see an animal. It's bipedal. It doesn't look like it has any forward appendages. It seems to be walking on like 2 legs. It's got kind of a short, stubby tail. It looks like it's got kind of a... on its head, it's got like 2 horns. It seems to be drinking out of a nearby lake and eating some of the vegetation. And doesn't really look harmless to you, and that's pretty much all you see.
It doesn't look harmless, or it does look harmless?
It doesn't look harmful.
Okay.
Just say.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna let it be.
Can I play the little devil on your shoulder?
You're asleep.
Or no, I meant like, go investigate.
Is that what she already did?
Yeah. I'll just go back.
Take it as a pet.
Okay.
Take it as a pet.
Oh.
Yep. You go back. You keep watch for a bit more, and then after a while, you with the bags under your eyes, and you almost doze off like twice before the next person who's supposed to take watch comes out and is like, "Hey, I'm here to take watch."
Hey.
Alright, Gregor. I'm going to bed.
Get some sleep. What? There's nothing wrong. How is that? What is?
When you said it, it's like, go get some sleep.
I need to give Gregor a voice. I'm experimenting.
While I'm sleeping.
Oh, I said, shh. That's Viato. Don't. Whispering. That's Viato. Don't. I'm raising my voice to the camera. Can you hear? That's Viato. He's the one that experiments with people when they're sleeping. He told us. You were there.
He's done it to me. Yes.
He did it to you.
Yeah, you did.
What did he do? What did he do?
Were you awake?
I think I was. Maybe. I don't remember.
Do you remember if you're sorry?
I
don't remember this. I must have been not here that time.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm asleep.
I am also.
Well, you can ask him out of, or like you would know if he was like.
Was it the blood transfusion? Is that what we're talking about? Okay. Yeah. No, you were awake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't
So-
really an experiment. I told him exactly what was gonna happen.
Oh. She might misremember it. I think that's. I mean, clearly Rachel misremembers.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that should shock
it's
no
feasible,
one.
no.
Well, you know, Rachel, we have these videos on YouTube. They're an excellent resource.
Yes.
Just put him on in the background.
What are we talking
Just
about
watch the
podcasts
first
then?
episode, then you'll actually remember that your old order is trying to kill you.
Oh, the one that like you went.
You just went straight up to him like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah. So, when did he try to experiment with you?
There was a time and a place. Go back to bed.
Where was
No,
I?
go back to watch. I'm going to bed.
Was I making muffins?
Maybe. I don't know.
You don't even remember. You just remember something happened.
Yup.
Alright, I'm gonna take watch now.
Okay.
I hear some snoring from Nara.
I'm already asleep this night.
Yeah, you definitely hear some snoring. It's making it difficult for you to like hear any movements out in the distance. You do hear a little bit of a caw, caw, some kind of a bird out in the distance. You also see the bioluminescence of the plants around you. It's actually, for whatever reason, like you can still see the stars out at night. Stars are actually particularly bright tonight, and have been so for the past couple of nights on Castroval. You see the fireflies out in the distance, and as you're like keeping watch, you're mostly like you're practically hypnotized by these fireflies as they go into various configurations, and you can almost swear that they kind of group together to form like the visage of a fish, and then like they spread apart and group back together into like the form of some kind of a dinosaur or some kind of an animal, and then spreading apart again. You mostly pass the time by just like playing a little game with yourself of trying to guess what they're communicating or trying to like show a picture of. And
Can I try to communicate with them? Because I'm Bug.
I am Bug. I am Bug.
Hear me, cricket.
you try to. What languages do you speak?
I do not speak anything. Like, I speak common. Like, I know Brethren, but I don't know that I know it. I think is what I decided.
Okay. Fair enough.
Like, I would know it if I heard it.
You try to like speak to the bugs in some way, shape, or form. How do you try to communicate with them?
I just make little clicking noises, and then like I wave my hand.
All right. Yeah. You start waving your hands and making your clicking bug noises, and they keep doing their little dance in the night. For a few seconds, it seems like they're actually responding to you until you realize that they don't really notice you. They're still just kind
Me
of.
in high school.
They're still just kind of doing their own thing.
Same, dude.
Everyone knew me in high school.
Everyone knew me because everyone was scared of me.
Well, yeah, me too. So, they thought I was the Antichrist for some reason.
You were the Antichrist.
Well, we're definitely not doomed.
Yeah, so that's
what it's like living in the Bible Belt.
So that's what goes on during your moment of the watch.
Damn, I was hoping I saw that creature that she saw. I was going to try to make a pet.
So you don't know that she's.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying that out of character. I need to be more clear about that. Yep. I nudge the auto. Like, hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Yep. It's time to take watch.
Okay. Go to sleep. And, 30 minutes after he's asleep,
Oh no. This doesn't sound good.
we're gonna go to her
Oh. What
Okay.
did I do?
and inject her with a spell and put a muscle restoration and make her move back up the track too.
Oh,
Okay.
he's doing it all secret so no one knows that he doesn't not hate me.
All right. So the spell amp. How exactly do you apply it? Mostly for
Injection.
It's an injection. All right.
What
Malayla, do you want to roll me perception?
Oh, like I don't know he's doing it, or I wake up, or okay, sure. 29.
29.
I guess the only way this is gonna work is if I get a net 20.
Sure. Roll stealth.
That was really close.
No,
my
that's a
18.
17 on the die.
Yeah.
That's not gonna
17.
be enough.
Well, this is what I'll say happens. You inject her with the spell amp, and as soon as you withdraw the needle, she kind of like lurches awake,
Whoa, hey.
and
What you doing?
you know, mainly from the slight pain from the needle itself.
Ow.
And yeah, she sees you standing over her with a needle in your hand.
Making
What
sure
you
you're not
doing?
dying.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
You just trust her like
I can make
He
it.
is a doctor. Are you sure? Like, how do I know? How do I know?
He might be trying to rape you.
We all know. We
Gregor,
all
you're
know
asleep.
part of it.
Can I not? Am I not allowed to talk out of
Judge.
character?
No, you totally are.
Alright.
Believe me or don't. Just whatever's good. Be sure you're not dying.
I don't feel any better. Wait, do I feel better?
You do.
Oh, I feel better. Okay.
I mean, you
Never
still,
Quick turnaround.
yeah, you still feel a little sick, but you're not as sick as you were.
Should I not have my cards on? Like, what did he do exactly?
You went from debilitated to weakened, so you're no longer going to be exhausted, you're just going to be sickened and fatigued.
You can have my
So
card.
you'll have fatigue.
I just thought of a new angle for Gregor.
Now I'm going to go back outside and die.
Okay, I feel a little bit better.
All right. You crawl out of Malayla's tent into the dimly lit jungle canopy that awaits you from the bioluminescent plants and the starlit skies. You kind of walk around what used to be your campfire as it had died down like long ago, and you start to sit outside just taking in the scenery for the most part, and also trying to listen for any subtle movements off in the distance or even nearby. It's a little difficult because you also hear snoring from one of the tents, and eventually you
I'm gonna add Nara's snore.
You're all jerks.
Very loud to
Whatever.
eventually
Hey, you snore.
and eventually you hear
I'm not allowed to say that.
No, you can't.
eventually you hear kind of a snap out in the distance, and kind of the sound of a weight falling down. It's coming from that direction.
I'm gonna go over there.
Alright?
Am I still
You
awake at this
Just
point?
don't humid outside.
Yeah, you can be awake.
Okay.
You can be. You don't have to be.
I'll be awake. I'm just chilling in my tent,
There went my D10.
playing some space games on my phone.
Right, is it morning?
No, I'm just awake because he needled me.
Yeah, the battery on your
He
phone
injected
is
me with
like
something.
nearly dead right now.
Ah, boo.
Because you've been out in the jungle for like
That's true.
days
You
without
have
a
extra
means of
I probably. Well, I do have batteries for my pistol. Are those the same?
Ah, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're-
Now I'm playing mobile
Gregor
games on my
Gregor
phone.
has an addiction.
More
you
or-
know,
She
you
doesn't
can't
know
say that.
More or less, but realistically, like even like the battery of a gun is different from the battery of a phone.
So I shouldn't be playing mobile games.
Probably.
Not a smart
You can-
tactic in the jungle.
You can recharge your phone, but you're like in the middle of the wilderness,
Right.
so it's
If you're
difficult.
not a technomancer, you can just move charge between batteries.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's
Well, wait,
right.
are there like wires that you can buy? Because you could get like a wire and like charge your phone that way.
Well, they're like, well,
Where's
yeah,
that wire?
it's kind of implied that you already have it.
Wait, do
Oh.
you have a phone?
I have a phone.
You do.
It's just
Right
it's really
here. No, I'm just
it's just it's really hard to find a plug out in the middle of the
I
jungle.
thought
Yeah.
I would think that would be a data pad, not a com.
You said a con is
Basically like a cell
That's
phone.
the rule of thumb that I use.
Oh, I've been thinking of it as a headset this whole time.
Like a radio.
If you want to say it's a headset, you can definitely
You
use it.
got the Mark 1 instead of the Mark 5.
Yeah.
He's old fashioned. That's fine.
No, I got like it's like the Google Glass. It's like the expensive but more useless one.
So what do I find in my trap?
Well, you go out to where your trap is, and you definitely see your box or whatever you you had used has toppled over. You haven't really like opened it up yet.
The peek inside.
You're going to peek inside, and two small appendages try to like immediately scratch out. To
Put it back down.
okay.
Breakfast?
Shake the box really hard.
Yes! There you go.
It doesn't have Chino in it.
Aw.
My cat is an asshole.
He
Put
is
it that way.
resilient. He wouldn't.
Okay. I want to.
We wouldn't do that to him.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm going to. I'm just gonna shoot the box of sedative darts.
All right. Do you want to give me a to hit roll?
This is
Well, that's gonna be a miss, almost certainly. That's a that's a
Point.
7.
Point
Okay, your
blank
dart.
range.
Your dart impacts the harmlessly on the ground next to the box,
Wow,
Just
yeah.
and you inject the ground with sedative.
Jack the ground.
Let's try that again.
Maybe it's a sentient planet.
Lady plant.
You hear like a loud yawn in the distance.
Try that again.
melted.
It's not much better. That's an 11.
An 11. You hit the box, and most likely the creature inside.
Oh, okay.
The auditor
I'm
needs
gonna wait
to
till it stops.
Moving.
take some more advantage.
All right. About a little bit of time passes, and all of a sudden, like the scratching noises that you were hearing coming from inside of the box start to die down until ultimately you can't really hear anything from underneath the box.
2 darts. 2 pieces. Just the first one, just a wide miss.
Good job.
Uh,
You look around,
Look at
make
how
sure
much of a
nobody's
hard
yelling
time Justin has hitting the garbage can from point blank.
Hey, just be glad you didn't roll in that one.
hit myself.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
I got to break out some of the cards you didn't get to
And
use
then,
last week.
I will grab it.
Mhm.
Do I have it?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna drain some blood from it.
All right, you're holding in your hand kind of a small lemur type creature. It's got like big ears and wide yellow eyes. It's got kind of reddish orangish fur
He
with
sounds
like
cute.
stripes of red and black.
He sounds adorable.
And you start draining the blood from it.
How could you?
You your eyes widen once more. You start to see like visions of swinging through the trees, of outrunning various predators, even Kalkarikis at certain times, and even like something like the starfish that you fought earlier. You see kind of like another one of the same size and like some smaller versions of this creature that you just caught in kind of a burrow or a hollow of a tree, and ultimately you see through this creature's eyes just like crawling around in a series of ruins, almost like a city, and you see kind of a sitting on a mountain, a large structure. Beneath that, you see various like crumbled pyramids and structures that are being held up by like pillars and other types of supports, and you kind of hear like voices in the distance. You hear people talking. You can't understand what they're saying at all, but you know that there's some kind of a presence there. And then you start swinging through the trees once again until ultimately you start to smell something strange. And you go and you check it out, and you find like what looks like a campsite, tents, and a burnt-out fire that is surrounded by vegetation. And you go off into the vegetation, and you see, well, you don't know what you see. You move forward to try and investigate that strange smell, and when you finally come across a tiny morsel of, you don't know what it is, bread or nuts or something, all of a sudden, and now you're surrounded by darkness. And then you come back to your senses rather rapidly, and you look at your hand. You see this dead animal in your hand, and yeah.
I imagine it like Requiem for a Dream, where like it's like and the eyes get big.
I will bring the creature back with me.
All right.
Wait for Gregor to get up.
Yeah,
we're
this
gonna eat
happens fairly early during your shift,
Did
so
you kill
like
it?
Well, I'm just gonna wait until you get up.
So you didn't kill it yet.
No, it's dead. Drained all the blood.
this happens fairly early in your shift, so you're pretty much just like hanging out with a dead animal in your hand like, for quite a few hours until ultimately the sun is
We could
fairly
use this
high
as a
in the
puppet.
I
sky.
was just gonna say that.
You You see the sun start to rise off in the distance. Bit of a reddish sunrise, and yeah, it's the trees and all the vegetation returns to its normal greenish or bluish color, and ultimately you start to hear sounds coming from the tents, sounds of movement, as people start to stir from their slumber. Mylayla, did you stay up the rest of the night?
I think I went back to sleep after a while.
All right, fair enough.
I was thinking of sneaking over to Viado and seeing what he was doing, but I was like, I don't care. Whatever.
All right.
He's doing some weird cultist stuff. Tripping out on animal blood. I don't fucking know.
You don't know it.
You don't know.
No, I don't. I'm just saying. He's doing whatever he does. I'm just gonna leave him alone.
Wait, dude, I don't know that you drain animal blood. I just know that you said he experimented on you, and you said you experimented on people, even though I think you were lying. But
I didn't care about that. No, just let him do whatever. I feel like I owe him a little bit of a debt, but he doesn't know that. He might get a name.
So it's morning.
If I don't die, I owe him a little
I'm gonna
bit.
get up and eat a ration.
All right.
Wait, there's a dead animal.
yeah, I'm gonna cook.
I don't trust you.
Fair.
Cooking.
He threw a dead body at you.
I'm gonna.
Have a cute lemur.
I'm gonna scavenge and see if I can find some mushrooms and things to put in.
Give me a survival check.
You gonna wash those pots?
We already washed them. I'll
What
wash
else
them
happens in
again.
these pots?
12.
12. You find very few mushrooms, but you do see some herbs and stuff like that that you can use to spice it
I
up.
can roast. I'll do a little roast creature. So I'm gonna try to cook it up.
All right. Which pot?
I'm not gonna cook it in a pot. Can I just stick a stick through it and do a rotisserie?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Rotisserie.
You find a stick,
It takes a while.
and
That would still be cooking though. Wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
it would be based on your cooking skill. But I'll give you a +2 to the roll because of your herbs.
Oh, that's nice. Oh boy, he's gonna burn
Oh
it.
god.
You got it too.
Oh my gosh.
A 10.
A 10. You
Those herbs saved you.
So you're definitely trying to cook this thing, and you almost burn it. It's a bit singed on a few places on this animal.
Hey, some foods are good blackened.
I mean, you got a point.
What? I know
Like seasoning maybe.
no, some French cooking and stuff. They blacken.
But luckily, the herbs and the spices definitely hold some flavor into it, despite having a slight taste of char and ash. It's still edible, and it tastes all right. Definitely, I want to say it's 3-star quality, but definitely not 4 or 5-star. It's passable.
Okay. I'll take a morsel, I guess.
Yeah. I guess it's just me and you with the.
I'm not a picky eater.
Over
lived
breakfast, I'm like,
other
so
parts.
did anything happen last night? You guys see anything?
I thought this thing that you're eating.
I saw an animal.
I was sleeping.
I was hoping she would.
Tell you about the.
Yeah, because I wanted to be like,
About
I wanted to
sneaking
do a
into my tent?
pro-life thing.
God.
I wanted to try.
Convince me not to abort it. If Viato's not talking, I'm not talking.
You can do whatever you want.
I don't
I
care.
just caught this thing last night.
I'm good.
Well, that's what I know.
I'm not. I'm still unsure of what you did, so For the most part, I feel a little bit better.
I know I would have been freaking out if I saw the Yato.
Yeah. Right? Exactly.
But that's just my character. Well, I think we should collect, like, you know, collect the tents and stuff and make our way to the temple.
Okay.
We might want to try to, like, sneak up on it, or like, who's got the best, like, Nara, like, maybe you could, like, how high can you fly?
60 feet?
60
I
feet.
think.
That's your speed.
No, that's my, yeah. Yeah, how hard?
Oh, I can do that.
I assume it's your speed.
Alright, 30 feet.
Wow.
Check though. It's like in the back of the Pack World book, so it's very easy.
that is not very high. I
Base
imagine
land
with those
speed of
wings-
20 feet and a flight speed of 30 feet.
You're saying how high can she
Yeah.
How
Is
high?
there a limit?
Not real. Not really.
get? So like once you start getting to space, that's too high.
I'd say the stratosphere, maybe.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, like, maybe you can, like, fly kind of near it. How far away can you see?
60 feet. No. I don't. How far can I see? Like during the day, I have 60-foot dark vision, and like during the day, I don't know how good my eyes are. I guess.
I'm breaking.
fog.
I'm breaking the game with my question.
How high? Oh, not at all. Only I can break the game. But anyways, how high is your perception?
I have a.
Ooh, that's
Seven.
pretty good.
A 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Based on that, you can fly up fairly high and still get a good view.
Think 700 feet.
Maybe.
No.
You wouldn't be able to see perfectly, but you'd still be able to get like a bird's eye view, no pun intended, of everything.
Right.
All
Yeah.
the scenery for the most part.
Like
You can probably detect movement.
What I'm thinking is that maybe you can, like, either one. I don't know. Let me run this by you. I'm thinking maybe she could, like, fly kind of near there and see what she can see, or maybe one of us should, like, try to sneak up. Like,
I mean, I
Dr.
do have
Jackson.
I do have the stealth training for it.
Yeah, because you might, like, your flying might make a lot of noise.
I can't say
Yeah,
I've
you
ever
hear
noticed
the-
a bird flying.
What?
I can't say I've ever noticed a bird flying.
Yeah, but, like,
That's
she's
true.
large. Her wings flapping probably make quite a bit more noise. Like, and you don't have good stealth, do you? Like, I imagine that a 7. What's or that? No, that's I don't know. It's up to you. Or like, I think we should only send one person though, right? The scout. Like, which one of you do you think it would be better at scout? Like, if you're flying, you could get kind of an overhead
I have an
view.
11 stealth. She'd be Wait, do I have an 11 or do I have
Oh
higher?
yeah, 13.
I have a
You-
14 stealth. Never mind.
But you might not be able to like scout as like you might not be able to see as much. Like she could
My
get
perception's
kind of,
11.
She,
Yeah, she's better than me at both things.
Oh.
is that
Yeah.
I know I am.
Yeah, modest too.
It depends. Like
Yeah.
if you guys are trying to like think this out as a group in character.
I'm trained to
Probably.
be a scout,
Yeah.
basically.
That is what I was trying to avoid.
But
Like,
table
I-
talk is allowed.
The way you could do it is you could have like a mini competition.
That is a good
Yeah,
idea.
mini
Like,
competition. Also, Ben, I have a question. With
Do
your
you
thing
wanna
that you rejected
have,
me
like,
with,
a
do I
little
still
mini
have that
competition
standard
to see-
action -1
No, you
HP?
see
no,
which one of
you are
us
currently at
would be a better.
you're at the weakened
Better at-
stage.
Okay.
That's
You're
like,
So I don't
sickened and
have that.
fatigued, but you don't have any of the other effects.
Okay.
Because I bumped you 2 back up the track. I didn't get rid of it, I just
Yeah.
eased the symptoms.
That's very nice. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, I think we'll do the mini competition. I think Beato and I will both
Be the judges.
try to hide. and like you try to
No,
like.
no.
No,
The way we'll
shouldn't
do
we
this-
have to hide and you
Yeah.
guys have to
The
find
way we'll do
us?
this is you and I will be around our little campfire here eating our roast lemur.
Oh,
guess.
you're gonna have some too.
And then
You're gonna have some too.
have something that they have to like get from the camp without us noticing.
Okay, but
Wouldn't that be sleight of hand and stuff?
yeah,
No,
that
not on our person.
that is a
Okay,
good idea.
yeah,
Well,
okay,
what
I like
about we would have to like hide it though. So
what doesn't
well,
necessarily
What is it that
we
we're
wanna
looking
test.
for?
We want to test their perception.
That's a good point. We'll hide it somewhere in
I don't know.
camp, and then you have to find it without us seeing.
Okay, but we
Yeah.
have to know what you guys are hiding, otherwise we don't know what it is.
This pot.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Teapot!
Shh.
I'm gonna hide my pot.
Wait, which one? The one I'm gonna put my little guy in?
That's
Maybe
you've got that. That's,
Oh, I already got
that's
one?
yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's on your person.
Oh, okay.
I will hide like the little one thing.
Just put it somewhere in
Okay.
camp. But you two go and jump around.
I'm not gonna tell you where it is. Only
We'll just
you and I
have-
will know.
You can go first, and then
Alright.
you can go.
Okay. Are we doing it by like how long does it take to find it, or
If
Are
we
we
see
checking
you,
stealth or perception?
I'm confused.
we're testing your perception.
We're testing
See
both.
if you can find the pot that we hide, and then also your
Like,
stealth
you-
to
you
see if
also-
we see you trying to get the
Oh, okay.
Whoever's better at it.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright.
So go off into the jungle, Nario go first.
Like hopefully one of you will fail at one of like
Both
we're,
succeed.
yeah if they both
Both of us
succeed
fail.
or they both fail like we just might as well flip a coin on it.
Perception first, I guess.
Wait, I'm gonna hide it
22.
22 perception.
I was just saying, he's gotta hide it.
Keep note here.
Just keep note of our little competition, I guess.
I'm gonna hide it like maybe like under a little bit of dirt by in like under her tent.
Alright.
Why don't you just put it in her tent?
Okay, I'll put it in her tent like in her sleeping bag.
Okay, that
Okay.
works.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody give me perception. Nara, you already gave me yours.
You're not involved in this, or
You said everybody give. You said
Everybody.
everybody.
Or two. I thought
Everybody.
she was a
Yeah,
contestant.
yeah,
she doesn't
she's-
get to be a
she-
judge.
No, it's for different reasons.
Okay.
It's
24.
perception. It's a perception check, but for different reasons.
Okay.
24.
Alright.
11.
16.
Okay. Alright, now. Oh gosh.
Which is really snuck up on my ghost.
So,
Oh, we're doing this stealth
Nara and
competition.
my Layla,
Yes.
give me stealth checks.
13.
24.
I trip and fall straight to the 10.
Well, that'd be if you got like a under 5.
Yeah, what was your perception?
My perception was a 16.
So
Alright.
we see Nara.
Well,
It's
maybe.
my goddamn wings!
So, yeah, you.
Well, I see Nara.
Viato
I
and
mean, I don't see Nara.
Viato and Gregor, you both are, you both are hanging out, eating your roast creature.
It's getting a little cold at this point.
Viato, you can definitely hear something in the distance, fairly close actually. Gregor, you don't really hear
In the
anything
close distance, yes.
in the near future.
You're into the future.
You hear some like rustling of. Actually, you hear the flapping of wings, and you see
This is suspicious.
you see Nara just like trying to like fly from like tree to tree, trying to like hide behind like branches and stuff. And Gregor, you still don't notice. Nara's trying to get a bird's eye view, again, no pun intended, of the campsite.
I'm
trying to get a
keeping
good
like
idea.
I saw like a little firefly that's like up in the daytime, and I'm like,
Too enthralled with it.
yeah, I'm like, hey buddy.
Of course, Nara, you notice that Viato spots you, and you start What does Viato do in response to this?
Well, I want to see if she could at least find the pot.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna play like I don't see her.
Alright, so Viato, you start playing like you don't see her, and Nara, you know that he is playing like he doesn't see you. You saw him see you.
Does she?
Yes. Yes, she does.
Because we made eye contact.
Yes.
And she still, like, you know, kind of goes from tree to tree. And yeah. She has no idea from her bird's eye view, again, no pun intended, where this pot is. She even starts, like, looking, you know, around the camp, like a little outside of that area. And is that thunder?
Yes,
Yeah.
just as a little like
Severe
precaution.
thunderstorm.
Apparently, we're having flash flood warnings later.
Yeah, we got one at like 2 o'clock, and Justin looks out the window and goes,
What?
"It's just like sunny."
Well, shoot, I almost thought that, like, there were tanks or something. I was like, yes, that'd be interesting. Anyways, so yeah, Nara, you start looking, you know, around the camp, like, around the outside of the camp area, and Gregor, you don't even notice that Viato had noticed something. You both are still kind of eating. And then, ultimately, you guys kind of hear from behind, just out of nowhere, my Layla go, "I found it!"
Ah,
You know, you obviously, like, didn't...
you didn't see me. You didn't hear me.
And we
No one
like,
knew.
And you didn't speak her either.
we hear shoot from Nara.
Yeah.
Shoot, rats.
No, you don't hear...
Rats.
You hear other words.
No.
But,
Rats!
Ah.
Shirt balls.
Holy fucking shirt balls!
So I think I won. As I do everything. Other than my
That's fighting
fortitude.
words.
Other than my fortitude
Did
checks.
you see her?
I did not. I think we have a winner.
I did see Nara. So.
And
But I still think we have a winner. It's not
Yeah.
Nara.
Yeah, it's not Nara. Nobody saw me, nobody heard me, and I found the pot. I win.
Can I have my pot back? Nice bucket.
Okay, I'll go
Oh, we'll get a
sneak.
bit closer. We're still like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to get closer, but I'll be the scouting ahead kind of person when we get close enough, and then we'll see kind of
So that takes
the lay of the land.
Maybe get like 30 minutes away.
15.
15.
minutes. Yeah.
Well, you know, they might be spread out a little further.
Good.
Good.
Okay.
I mean, true. Yeah, it's easier to ambush people when they're spread out.
Yeah. I guess that's good. They
Divide
don't
and
have
conquer.
time to report back or anything if they're far away. So yeah, 15 minutes is good.
Can't resist the adorable charm.
You're adorable. You're literally like undead. Are there like undead children shows and stuff? Mr. Skeleton's Happy Fun Hour.
Yeah, on EOX, maybe.
That is an actual programming channel.
Well, I guess there was that
Undead
Coco
children.
movie,
Yeah, that's true.
but that's in the real world.
Like a skeleton, like all done up like a clown, and he's like, "Hey kids, welcome to Mr. Skeleton's Wild Wacky Fun Hour. Bring in the living test subject."
Don like some Barney or puppet outfit, and, like slide it off. Like, this is what we really look like.
See, these sacks of flesh, they aren't your true form.
Flesh.
Meathead.
Jesus Christ.
They really were just all a bunch of calcium bones
It's
pretending to be something.
That's racist, and
That's
I have to tell
That's
you
specious.
that I wear my skeleton on the outside, so
Oh, wow, it's really coming down all of a sudden.
We're just open on the outside.
yeah, I'm a bug.
That makes many rules in some places. Ooh, for public indecency.
I'm wearing clothes. I'm not odium or.
Yes.
Okay, so we travel to.
Like 15
Close to
minutes
this.
away from it, and then you're gonna get stoned.
I'll go scout it, I guess.
All right.
Ooh.
16.
16.
It's still pretty high. Like I roll a 2, but my stealth is 14 off the bat. So.
All right. You start to scout ahead. So is the rest of you like following in close behind, or is she just going off on her own?
Well, wait. I think because we didn't tell you this before you went. I call you up on your comm.
Okay.
Oh no, wait. Your comm doesn't have batteries.
No, it does. I turned it off.
does, yes.
So,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh.
I
it's
call you
gonna
up
die.
on your comm, and I'm like, be sure to calm us if you see like if you need help.
Okay.
And then you can call us and report back if we can come.
Okay.
I can see why there's so flash flood running.
All of a sudden, it started raining. A lot.
Very heavily.
Very much.
Oh. I'm gonna go check the window.
Oh, did you? Oh.
Well, like, is it like it's falling down?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that same
It's like
problem on my
off
car.
its track. Yeah.
Of course, now the window controls don't work at all, so it doesn't go up or down. That sucks. But as long as the AC works, it's fine. So yeah, you scout up ahead, and you seem to find like what's left of a path. I guess what I should say is you. I guess what I should say is you find like kind of like a small area where there isn't much of an overgrowth of vegetation as there usually would be. Like you can kind of walk down a bit of a path, if you will. It doesn't look like it was recently made. It looks like it's the remnants of a path that used to be there.
Okay.
And you seem to go for like 3 hours until you come across what looks like a ruined city at the base of one of Ukalam's mountain ranges. And many of the buildings seem to be on supports, or not. Some of them look like the supports have broken, and
Are there any tech supports?
there are also.
No, these are elves.
You can also find pyramids.
Oh, fun.
Many of them in varying degrees of disrepair,
I always knew the elves were part of the pyramid scheme.
and
Oh God.
no, it's a funnel scheme. It's a
Yes.
reverse
Yes, it's a
pyramid.
reverse pyramid.
See, all the money funnels down to me. All right,
I don't remember what that's from.
it's always sunny.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So you see that. Right now you are kind of at the outskirts of this ruined city.
Mhm.
And oh, give me a perception check for kicks and giggles.
Oh, wait. Sorry, Rachel.
On the table,
Sorry, Rachel.
please.
You don't notice Cthulhu like stomping you with his massive foot. No, I'm kidding.
It's destroying your mind.
26.
26. For now, you don't notice any movement, except for like maybe birds or other flying creatures off in the distance.
Okay.
You do notice that there is a path at the end of the city, at the other end of the city from where you are. There's a winding path that goes up part of one of the mountains to a plateau, and you think you can make out a familiar structure at the at that plateau. And that's pretty much all that you can detect from this scene that you are witnessing right now.
Okay, so no guards or anything? No. No people.
You don't see any movement.
No people. Okay. Can I stealth back?
Yeah.
Oh, that's much better.
Jesus.
Well, I rolled an 18 and my stealth is
No, it's just Malera.
14, so.
She got 32. I don't think any of us are gonna see her coming.
Yeah, you guys...
Can I sneak up on someone?
Actually, I was just about to say that you do.
Yes!
I'm gonna roll. No.
Roll a percent now.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that you would because I
don't know if you
knew
guys
that.
would do that.
No, wait, I couldn't even roll that high if I tried.
But anyways.
Nat 20.
Yeah, so are you
Oh,
guys?
yeah.
Were you guys like actually like just staying
We're
at
like
your
fi-
camp?
No,
or-
we're like 15 minutes from the edge of this
Yeah.
place.
Okay, so you were following her.
Yeah, well, we
Okay.
said we went to 15 minutes and then she
We
went
went to
south.
15 and then I scouted ahead to like
Okay.
get into the city.
Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't follow her into the city.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
was
like 2,000 years old, so my memory's not what it used to be. So.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, it was like 100 almost.
Oh, okay. So you guys are making your way through this
you're like
jungle.
a 10-year-old.
And as you guys are wandering, you see like some lemurs, similar to what you had eaten for breakfast this morning, kind of like swinging across the trees and jumping from tree to tree, and they're moving in like a pack as they move the exact opposite direction from where you're wandering.
And then you see me with the lemurs. I
And-
am now
And
their
Indiana
master.
Jones and that crystal skull. We're just like swinging around.
Yeah.
But that wasn't Indiana, that was
Yeah, it was Shia LaBeouf.
Silent Bob and whatever character he was
Shia
supposed to
LaBeouf.
be.
Indiana Jones' son.
But
Shia Little Monkey.
yeah. Okay.
Just do it.
So you see this scene happening before you, and you know what? Well, we'll say that you guys like take some time to take this scene in, and you're following the monkeys visually, and you know you watch them as they go on until they start moving off in the distance behind you, and then when you turn back to look in front of you, you see Malala just randomly there, like right in front of you. And half of you jump, the other half do not. What?
So, like, half of me jumps and the other half doesn't.
Backwards.
So you just fall over.
I do like a little somersault sideways.
Like cheating on us.
Ah!
Why are you
I have the acrobatic here. I'm gonna see if I do a somersault. Or what? A natural 20.
Yeah, you do a somersault.
You do a somersault.
This giant bug.
Yeah.
Doing a somersault.
And you just like, and just somersaults backwards.
Perfect
Sideways.
somersault.
Because half
In
of me is
fear.
jumping and the other half isn't. So
Yes. So he's not doing a backflip. He's doing a somersault.
He's doing
So, guys. So,
What'd you see?
there was nothing there. There's no, like, I didn't see any people or anything. It's just like the ruins of a city. There's some
you think it's
architecture you might like. You might enjoy studying. I don't know. You nerd.
you're the other
I'm the other doctor, but I'm not that kind of doctor.
yeah, but like you're still like
I'm still a
nerdy.
nerd. But I'm a nerd who, like, am good at stuff.
I
I'm not that kind of nerd.
I'm not that kind of
whispered to Nara. She's a nerd too.
But he's like full on nerd. I'm like the combative nerd where I can like actually fight people. Hopefully. I don't know.
I don't
You
know.
don't need to
I'm the
fight.
military.
Have you ever known an anthropologist? They are very nerdy people.
I'm the cool kind though.
Well, you know all them spellcasters and their Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, exactly. He's the true nerd.
No, they're humans in houses.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I think it seemed like it was safe to proceed. I didn't see any like guards or anything. Otherwise, I would have taken them out.
I don't know. I'm still
Sneaky ninja
skeptical. I
style.
think we should be on guard when we go up
Yes,
there.
we should definitely pull out our guns. It's uncharted territory.
I'm gonna take out my
Yeah, I'll take out my
Wait.
laser.
Take out my pistol.
We're not in like thick
Pew,
jungle or
pew.
anything. Because if we're in thick jungle, how about
Was it clear?
We're like 15.
It was
like
it was
open
kind of
clearing.
clear. There was a little. It wasn't an open. Wasn't it an open clearing? No, right?
Yeah,
Well, it wasn't an open clearing. Right? It's just like a path.
I'll have
Yeah.
my
It's just like
my
paths.
gun.
Yeah.
Like Schwarzenegger and Predator.
I'll pull out my pistol and my knife.
I'll pull out my laser rifle.
So a pistol and a knife in one.
You don't need a gun out. My entire body's a weapon.
Aren't you special?
Weird. You nerd.
You guys hear a crack from behind you.
Oh, god damn it. I didn't check behind me.
What's behind us?
Can we turn around?
It's a bird.
Oh,
you turn
yeah.
around. You all turn around with your weapons drawn. You're like, it's the devourer. It's the cult. There's just a bird. It's just staring at you. It's like,
Can
And then it just flies
can
away.
we roll for
Nara,
chill factor?
can you communicate with it? Maybe it knows the way.
Wow!
As much
Wow!
as you can communicate with other bugs, maybe.
I've been like I'm convinced I've been able to communicate with the one I was looking at.
And I'm convinced that my
we
cat
share
understands what I'm
kinship.
saying, but I don't know.
She
When we-
understands
when we
get
get to
down
those
and roll,
ruins-
and he ignores it.
I'm
No,
gonna
he
have
ignores it.
detect magic active.
Mhm.
See if I see anything special as we're going by.
all right. Yeah. So you guys move the rest of the way, and you see this ruined city. One of the first like buildings that you come across is it's some kind of a structure that looks like it used to be built on supports, but the two supports nearest to you like corroded away, so like the building kind of like is on a slant, and the floor almost like caved in on itself a little bit. So, yeah, you guys see that. You see other similar structures. Some of them have like the walls have been corroded away. Some of them there isn't even a building to speak of, just like a pile of rubble in between like 4 damaged supports. Viato, do you want to make me a wisdom check?
Just straight wisdom? Alright. 9.
Okay. All right.
Just straight wisdom, that's a 9.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
How wise are you?
Plus 2. Next level would be plus 3.
Ooh.
16 instead of 14. That would be one of the lightest people who element.
Probably raise my strength actually. That's fun.
Level 5, you get to raise 4 of your stats by plus
Oh,
2.
4.
Yeah. You have your detect magic up. You don't really notice anything magical other than any magic items that you guys are carrying. So far. You do know that this is like this city or this town is really well. It's old. It's very old. But
It's old, it's decayed.
yeah, let's just say there are hundreds of structures in this area, and like just trying to be able to excavate and document like this entire area, like you would need a full-blown archaeological dig, and even then it would take like years to fully excavate the entire area and like learn stuff about these ancient elves, or in your case,
Yeah.
ancient drow elves
I
in this area.
I think we should document the location of this place so that we can give it to the students and stuff, so they
Do
can
we
come
know
here.
where exactly we are in relation to when we were?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't think we've really been following a map. We've just been following the
We've
map.
been going like we've been going basically the same direction this whole time.
Well,
Right?
that's true.
We could say that, like, we could give a general idea, like, go north by northwest, and this general. I don't know. Like maybe could I roll my survival skill to say if like I would know kind of where the general location of
Absolutely.
of this?
Absolutely.
Can our comms kind of send out like a ping,
11.
I guess, as to
11.
where we are?
You don't know exactly where it is, but for the most part, this area is kind of like built near a mountain range.
Oh.
So for the most part, like you do deduce that what you could do is if you actually did look at a map, you could probably look at the map, find where Terhalu Point is, which is where you started, and then kind of use the direction that you went in relation to that, and see the spot in the mountain range that it points to. You don't know exactly where you are, but based on like which way you've been going, where you came from, and where you are now, and looking at kind of the landmarks that are around you, you could deduce. You could likely deduce where like the area it could be if you were to look at a map later.
Cool.
I'm not seeing anything worth grabbing with my special eyes.
Dr. Jackson, can you tell us anything important about these ruins?
Can I do a culture check?
Absolutely.
That's fine. 12. So not really.
12.
But if they're Elvish, I actually have some.
Yeah, do you get like a bonus?
Yeah, do I get a bonus because I'm half Elvish?
Well, I mean, I can give you like a certain amount of information based on your role. So you're still gonna get information.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a ruined city, belonging to like ancient elves of the ancient Oatian elves.
Okay.
And gosh, how much of this information am I going to give you? Because here's the thing: yes, you are half Elven, but you never.
I wasn't really raised on the planet.
Yeah, you weren't raised on the planet. So
I was raised by an elf that was raised on the planet, though.
yes.
That's hearsay.
But it was a very long time ago, and I was very young when she left. So.
What I can give you is you look over like quite a bit of the ruins, and you try to like find some markings or some remnants of the Elven language to try and get like an understanding of what went on around here.
Okay.
And you find like a weird like word, Loskialua, and you assume that it's probably like you assume that it's probably the name of this town, and it looks like the elves here were involved heavily in astronomy.
Okay.
And research, on the stars.
Makes sense.
You do find some, I don't know, some like markings that are reminiscent of symbols that you would find in places of worship to the goddess Desna, and even Ibra,
Okay.
which is a modern deity that, from what you can determine, wasn't really known long ago. So yet another piece of information that these elves had long before anybody else. Let's see. You also determine that a lot of the pyramids, the actual pyramids in this area, are kind of like near the base of the mountain, or near the base of the mountain range, and are kind of clustered. You kind of, when you go to these pyramids and you start like investigating these pyramids, you determine that these structures may have housed the hierarchy or some kind of aristocracy in this town.
Okay.
And that's really all you can determine from it. There's not really much. There's not a whole lot, and especially since like a lot of the actual you can't really find like actual artifacts. You don't really have time to look through the ruins for artifacts, but you're mostly like looking at words that were inscribed on like walls or on door frames, or symbols built in like old shrines or temples that have been like corroded because of time and other types of weathering.
Okay. Well, none of it's really important to what we're doing. So.
Do you? I have the most important question I'm going to ask you is: does any of this seem to indicate a drow presence?
No, not a drow presence, not at all.
It's good news, Riato. We've escaped the drow influence.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
Yes.
Still got those cultists that we've been
Yes,
following.
we do need to. We are.
Anything about the cult of the Devourer or the temple of the? Was it the temple of the 12?
Well, yeah, nothing about that. Just about the goddess. What did you say? Dala?
Desna
Desna
and
That is-
Ibra.
and Ibra.
Do I know those two names?
Do you want to give me a culture check?
Not mysticism?
Either. Either will work, actually.
Okay. Or mysticism. That's a 15.
Alright. So, Ibra is basically the deity of, actually, the god of celestial bodies, the cosmos, and the mysteries of the universe.
Celestial bodies.
And, Ibra's worship was, yeah, nobody really knew of Ibra's existence until, like, recently. The other one, I'm gonna have to consult, like, the lore section of the actual rulebook, because I don't know that one.
Well, from what I can tell you right now, it sounds like blasphemy to me.
Everybody has their own religion.
Abadar. would
okay.
not agree.
The goddess of dreams, luck, stars, and travelers. So they both kind of, like, work off of each other.
Okay.
But yeah, one is a bit more recent, and their organized religion sprang up a bit more recently than the other, because nobody really knew of Ibra's existence.
Both star gods.
Yeah,
Makes sense with the elves studying the stars.
Yes.
Star Wars.
I say we go inside of the main temple.
Wait,
Climb a
do
mountain.
we know where the temple, the
Oh,
main
do we
temple
not?
is? Is it up the mountains?
I assume it's up that path.
Is that like can we
That's all
can we
there is.
see up the path to see if there's a temple? Or
You definitely see a structure, like, on a plateau, you know, right, that springs from the mountain.
I would assume the cultists are up there.
Yeah, let's go kick these cultures
yeah,
nuts.
let's go up there. Do you think we should have Nara scout ahead since she can fly, or do you?
Personally?
Yeah. I trust your opinion. You're
Personally.
like the smartest person here.
This is what I plan.
Probably.
You're like a smart person.
I'm like the smart
I'm
person.
like the rest of us, apparently.
I'm the second smart
I'm
person,
gonna
and I'm
go
the other
with it.
doctor, I guess.
I'm gonna give them one chance to surrender, and if they don't, I'm gonna make their lives a living hell.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I say we.
Intense.
I say we. You go in there. Should we come in with you, or should we stay like outside as like backups? And you call us like you go in there. And give them
I'm going in the front door. Gonna give them one chance to surrender. And if they don't, they're gonna make them kill each other.
I'm gonna make
I'm giving up on Vianto as being like a smart person. I mean,
I say we go with Viato's plan, and if they don't go along with it, I will drop in like a demon from the sky.
I say we go with Vianto's plan, but should we go in
The
with
whole
him?
reason we're out here is because they stole someone that we need.
Let's go
They
with
have
That's a
that.
good point. I'm
That's a
going
good
in.
Weeks,
I'm going in with you.
weeks that we did not need to be spending in this jungle.
That's very true. I'm
yeah.
here for a different reason, so you guys have your own beef. But
Wait, what reason are you here? I mean, I know your
Why are you
crew
here?
got
I was looking for
your crew got killed in the
yeah,
before.
no, my crew was looking for something.
Information related to an asteroid
Yeah,
that was hanging out outside of Absalom Station.
yeah.
What
I don't know why it brought me here, but yeah.
We were on an asteroid near Absalom.
Oh,
Station.
really?
Yeah.
Do you guys have information about my asteroid?
I might
about
be.
my
I don't know.
ass?
There's lots of asteroids.
Well, Layla, I can't tell you because I doubt your captain would like really hide anything from you. He was in contact with Chiscus about this asteroid. Chiscus forwarded him images of structures inside of the drift rock, alien structures that were mainly taken by these guys and
Oh.
sent to the Starfinder Society, and a lot of these pictures had like they were images of like monitor screens in like an alien language. The Starfinder Society wanted to know more about the words, the structures, and the purpose of the structures inside of the drift rock. So the main reason why they sent you guys to Castroval is because they thought that the University of the Quabarat University of Xenoanthropology and Xenoarchaeology, whichever order that is, was going to help you guys.
Okay.
And the contact that you guys met with, or at least your captain met with, mentioned something about the inscriptions or the writing being similar to stuff found in the continent of Ukalam. And so he acquired paperwork for your crew to journey into Ukalam and try and find more information out in the ruins. And then they were all killed.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Chiscus is my friend, so that's probably us. We were on that asteroids. I don't. I'm just I know as out of character that that was the same asteroid, but in character, I'm going to believe it, even though I don't. I'm just going to believe it for the wrong reasons. I'm going to believe it because Chiscus was a bug guy like me. He's the one that told me my my email address was inappropriate. Yeah, I say we go with his plan, but we all go in.
Yeah, I don't want anyone going by themselves. Other than me going by myself when I'm scouting, but that's just because I'll never get caught. I don't know.
Do you need me to?
And I've gotten caught.
Do you need me to carry you up the mountain? Because you're pregnant.
I think I can make it up the mountain myself. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Like you're pretty tiny.
Should I do some kind of check, athletics check?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you want me to do like an athletics check? He wants to carry me up, but I was like, I don't know. I think I can go by myself.
I mean,
I like to carry tiny people. That's like part of my character.
yeah, you can give me an athletics check, but it's kind of a path. The path going up was like kind of carved into the mountain by the ancient elves.
Right.
And you're doing like rock climbing, and the rest of us are just walking up the path. What are you doing?
23, so I'm rock climbing up. Just to show Gregor that I can do it.
You start climbing up the base of the mountain.
You
And
guys are taking this path, and I'm like, Gregor, I got this. And I just start climbing the rocks.
I'm like, I don't know if you should do that in your condition.
I think I'm good.
A woman can do anything she sets her mind to.
Doctor, should a pregnant woman climbing mountain?
I'm not traditionally pregnant.
If she wants to expedite her death, so be it.
Expedite her death.
Sounds right to me.
Just want to get out of this jungle. Just want to get the person we need.
Yado's getting cranky, guys.
Well, I don't know if he's getting cranky or he's just like
Just cranky.
transferred from one level of crankiness to an adjacent level.
He went from cranky to slightly irritated.
Yeah,
So you know my plan.
Let's go up the mountain.
I'm gonna give them a chance to surrender.
Yep.
If they don't,
Yep.
Come up.
They're gonna fuck each other up.
precisely.
Well, that's why I'm asking if we should be outside because, like,
No, just
that-
walking with me.
okay, because like if they're fighting each other, they might get us by accident, like stray bullets and stuff.
Let's
But
just
you-
get to the tavern now.
Alright, so this is actually kind of I kind of failed to notice until like kind of right now actually that this path kind of winds around the structure and then kind of like winds around to that area.
Okay.
But when you get to like this area, there's actually let me draw it. Let me use brown for the actual mountain. So you get to like this area, there's there's like the path that you're going up that clearly looks built into the side of the mountain, and then you get to an area that seems like kind of a natural level, and it goes from like it leads to another path that continues up the mountain that was built by the elves. And when you go to that area, you see something dead in that area.
And that looks kind of like a dead hobo.
What's going on?
Who wants to investigate?
The body?
You also see a large creature that seems to be like tearing gobs of flesh off of it.
Ooh.
That's not
It
the body.
It looks like a rather large snake-like creature with bulging bug eyes.
What kind of creature is it?
Oh, I have those Xenos.
You have your special thing, yes.
19, and then I have like a -5, like,
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
I guess
Nice
we're
thing.
far enough away that it's not noticing
What is
us
it, life
right now.
science?
Yep. What did you
it's
get?
Like, it's like
26.
Perfect.
And her DCs are reduced by 5 for identifying creatures.
This thing is a creature
I am a
native
nerd.
to Castroval called a mountain eel,
Ooh, I like eels.
and this
I
is
want a video.
this is definitely a carnivorous creature, especially
I gathered that.
especially since you see it like just tearing off, the flesh of this unfortunate soul.
Can we get it?
And the body is, we presume, a humanoid or a sentient being, I should say.
Yeah, it is definitely a humanoid.
I
And
want to play as one. So.
yeah, these mountain eels dwell on the slopes of the mountains of Castroval, gliding quietly between the trees as they hunt for prey. The gaze of a mountain eel paralyzes most creatures,
Oh.
allowing the beast to run its victims down and feast on their corpses.
Will it work on people big like us?
People big.
People big?
Will it work on people big?
You don't really know for sure,
It's a
'cause
great
you,
idea.
She asks the important questions.
you don't really know for sure since you've never really
I know.
encountered one in real life before. But basically, all you know is that this thing lives in the mountains of Castroval, and it's got a paralyzing gaze.
And it eats.
Are you
It
te-
eats people.
Are you telling us this, or are you just? What are you telling us?
Are you gonna share with the class?
Whatever the voice in my head said. I'm just.
Actually, wait a minute.
Do you think there's going to be more of these things on the mountain?
Oh yeah, do they travel in packs or are they more solo?
There we go. Now I got the appropriate size.
Oh, okay.
I think we should not continue up the path. I think we should just like if we're
Find
gonna
our
go
way
up
around.
I think if we're gonna go up the mountain, we should do it the old-fashioned way and just
Skyrim up that bitch.
yeah.
I can fly up. Let's do it, you guys.
Yeah.
Can you carry us?
No, I
You
can.
can
strong.
carry me, I'm small.
I could probably carry you.
Can you fly
I can climb.
I can
You've
also.
seen
Well,
my
you've seen
climb.
my acrobatics
Oh my
just now.
God.
I can climb too. So.
Fiata's gonna need help carrying. Does anyone have a rope?
I do not.
I don't. I thought about buying one.
Did I buy a rope? I don't know.
I have rope. I have titanium cable.
Oh yeah. Can he is climbing that different
Apparently
than
not.
like climbing up the mountain? I would guess.
We're trying to avoid this creature.
It'd be a little easier.
Okay. I'm gonna climb. Or Nara, do you want to fly up and like attach this to something?
Sure.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Where exactly do you attach this rope?
Can I roll to find some sort of like a primary?
How long is this rope?
Yeah.
I have 200 feet of it.
200 feet? Yeah, that's
200 feet.
good enough. You can put it anywhere, really.
Okay. So
It's really just a matter of
100
where on the map are you putting this?
100 feet is my
I'm glad somebody got.
Where on the map are you guys trying to climb up?
yeah, where are we trying to climb up? We're like right here.
Yeah, you guys are like right here practically.
We're trying to avoid us. We're going just.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
can we
it's
go a little bit
straight up.
down? Can we go a little bit down and then go back up?
Yeah.
Like straight up, so that way we kind of avoid
Yeah. So
the-
we'd be coming up like this way.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
This needs to be the tricky route.
I know. I'm working on it, but when you get structures that look like this, it's difficult for me to make a 3D model.
We need to like use
Some dwarven fortress.
like
what?
Dwarven forge.
CAD notation.
That would be an
They're not-
excellent idea. But we need to get some like sci-fi dwarven forge.
I don't know if they do sci-fi, do
I don't know actually. They might. They might. I know there's a company that does do
they? I
some
mean, we
really
don't
good
need sci-fi right now because we're in the ruins.
Yeah.
Right.
I know my dad was a drafter. They have notation for things like.
I can make like cardstock terrain, but it's mostly for like post-apocalyptic buildings. And
Lightning just struck somewhere down that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it struck.
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
came down to the ground.
How do we know this?
Because I saw it.
Oh.
I saw the aftershock.
That's usually what lightning does. Is it comes to the ground and then it goes back up.
Oh.
Yeah, you're not actually seeing the lightning hit the ground. You're seeing the lightning go back up because that's how fast it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're seeing
Yeah,
the
or
I never knew
you're
that.
seeing it go from cloud to cloud.
I'm dumb.
Yeah, so can I help me up the mountain?
I can help.
He can carry Beato. I'm good enough to go on my own. I've demonstrated this by
alright.
not using the path in the first place.
I can carry him up the rope, but like since the rope is easier, it'll be easier for me to do. So wouldn't it? Yeah. So and I'll make like a little notch in it so that like if I fall.
so Nara, you've basically flown up here practically. What you can do is all right. So describe to me how you're getting Beato up again.
I'm making like a little loop in the rope, like I'm tying like the bottom around us like a little bit, so like if we fall, we don't hit the ground.
Okay. Okay.
And
Snap our spines against the.
yeah, and I'm sort of like I've got you on my back, and
I am not good
I'm
at
just
athletics
pulling.
or acrobatics.
Gregor, do you want to give me an athletics check? And Malala, how are you getting up?
I've been climbing up this whole time. I did my athletics check like before we were on the path. I was already climbing up the mountain.
Give me
so-
another one.
Okay.
Oh, nat 20? Yeah, you guys make it up there flawlessly.
11.
11. All right, give me one more.
Not a chance. 12.
All right, you make it up.
Okay.
And then I see you get, because we probably make it up faster.
You probably do. I'm kind of getting up there.
The
Like,
rope. And she's getting up there like the long way. You're just, using
Yeah.
the rope.
You know, we had a rope.
yeah, but you tied the bottom of the rope to me.
I could
so
have dropped it down to you when we were done.
Well, you know what? It's over. It's fine.
It's not like once
I'm not
it's.
leaving the kitchen.
I hand it back to you. It's not like once it's been tied, it can't be untied.
Shut up. I made it up here. That's the important part.
I thought you were one of the smart ones.
No, if you want to know my intelligence level, I didn't put any points into my. I have intelligence of 11.
I took a point out of it.
Yeah, he's got 9. He's
Oh, okay.
he's below average.
I've got 13.
I have 11.
I have a 12.
I'm just.
I'm the smartest one here! That's a bad sign.
But you're not
Yeah,
the
but
most charming.
we don't know that. I don't think it. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't think it because you're like a doctor, and I'm pretty sure you would.
No, I wouldn't think
nobody
it.
would assume Norris.
No one would assume.
Technically X-Doctor since they revoked my license.
I'm just a doctor of,
For
I guess,
doing
anthropology.
Well,
experiments on people.
More so, they thought you were dead.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah. All right.
But that's not what I think. I think it's because you're experimenting on people.
See,
Yeah.
I don't tell
Okay, moving on.
Yeah. So you guys climb up.
Everything is
You guys
relaxed
make it
and everything.
actually behind the structure,
Try to figure out what happened.
and standing imperiously on a promontory partway up the mountainside is a temple of elegantly sculpted stone, with a single domed tower rising from its center. Expanses of the structure's weathered exterior bears scores of tall, glass-paned windows that cause the facade to shimmer in the sunlight.
I don't know if
Wide
you're-
stairs are carved into the rock face, winding back and forth as they ascend to the temple and from the ruins below.
I thought this was a path, and this was like. On
Well, yeah, there's like a stairway leading to this area. Yeah,
Well, wouldn't we be here?
Hmm?
Like, aren't we here? Because we
Well,
climbed
it's like
the
a wall.
mountain.
no, because this is the top of it.
Yeah, there's like a wall or something.
Oh.
Like the actual path is off the map. I didn't have a big enough
the
map,
path that's supposed to like loop around to the front.
which I didn't notice before until now. So
Oh,
that's why it wasn't really
Yeah.
drawn. in
This
the
is a
back
wall.
Yeah,
That's
we
a-
went
that's
up,
a
we went
wall.
in the back way.
Yep.
I still think we should, I think we should try to climb this wall, but I think once we get over it, even if we don't see people, we should still try to be kind of, as quiet as possible so we don't attract these, eel things. 'Cause
Okay.
Do the eels hear sound? Do you know?
Most living things can hear sound.
I don't know, I can't sometimes.
Do you think
Well,
ears
that's because of your accident.
eels hear sounds?
Huh?
Don't you remember your accident in the mines?
I don't know if he told you that.
I don't know if he did. How does it detect other
So
prey
what's your best
and
guess?
predators? The eel.
Or do you?
How does it? I mean, normally,
sounds.
like
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of tasting the air.
yeah,
And it smells her pheromones.
it has true
How
sight
high is this wall?
and scent. It just knows you're there at all
Yeah.
times.
How high is this
What?
How high is this wall?
The wall. Well, I mean, this wall is basically this is the structure. So you'd be climbing.
Oh, okay.
You'd be climbing up on top of the structure.
Okay, so we
Is
need
that
to wait. No,
door
we need to
on
go
the side or
around.
something?
I still.
You don't
look
see a
for an
door from where you're
Like the
standing.
path is inclined up this, is the path inclined?
So the path is off the map and it goes around to over here.
I still don't think we should follow the path because the eel is down there. It might
We
spot
don't need
us.
to. We're at the top.
Yeah, we're at the top. We climb to the top and we're
We're
at the
on a
back of the
plateau
building.
now.
But the eel could come up.
So let's go
I
the
don't
other
think it
direction. Away
Oh,
from
is
the eel.
it? Is the other
Yes.
direction?
It's rather steep, cause the wall is right on the edge of the plateau, but you could potentially climb around it to the other side.
On the other side. You wanna?
I can just fly around it.
And I mean,
We we could we could do the rope again, Nara. I can carry the rope up,
I got you.
and I can carry Viato. You need me to carry you?
No, I
Do you want to use the rope first?
can. Sure, I'll go up the rope first. I can just climb the rope. I don't have to tie it to like myself or whatever.
Nat one.
I'm not at one. I'm like 18. Yeah. Plus my acrobatics, so 29.
All right, you make it.
Flawlessly.
I'm
Swiftly.
gonna tie it because Viato. I don't know.
It's precious
I don't want to drop.
cargo.
I would appreciate not being dropped.
He's precious cargo.
You almost fell into space. 18.
18. You do it. You make it.
Okay, untie it and give it back.
I don't think anyone else needs a rope because I climbed up first. I didn't use that end of it. And then Nara flew up. So you guys are good. Yeah, so nobody else needs a rope. Now where are we? I don't even. Well, where are we now? What did we decide?
Well, if I move this a little, you guys are kind of.
We're on Nara's character sheet.
Yeah, you're on Nara's character sheet, and you guys are like, "What? There's a giant piece of paper in the world. How did that happen?"
What are these strange numbers? Quick.
Do I see any
Simple.
like entrances that we could go into?
Actually, you guys would be more here because there's a little bit, because like, yeah.
Wow, how did you balance
I
that?
think it would be
know
reversed. I
skills,
think
man.
you and Nara would be ahead of us.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because there's a little bit of room to maneuver here, but like over here, there's like, you know, mountainside
Okay.
and slope.
Is there like a door in or something over here?
You
Yeah,
do not see a door inside.
You,
You
might
just see
want to
more
look
wall.
for other mountain eels too.
You see more wall, but you do see some ruins up ahead. Some ruined structures up ahead.
Chris, can we see the
Sorry.
trees from here?
Hmm?
Can we see the trees from here?
Okay.
The trees. Well, I mean, you can see some like tall grass.
Okay. Because like don't the mountain eels, I think you said they were in the vegetation and stuff.
Did I?
Yeah, you said
No,
trees.
he never said anything like that.
I don't
You
remember.
you said they came from trees or whatever. They hide in trees.
He never said that. They're large creatures. They're as big as you.
Well, that's what I remember. That's what I got out of it.
That's definitely not what was said, but okay.
Even,
You know,
even I'm not changing it. That's in character. I'm
We'll be
afraid
fine.
they live in trees.
I think that's probably the only one in this area. They're big creatures. They need a lot of food. They probably have wide areas.
Do you think they're
Oh, yeah.
territorial?
Probably.
Yeah, territory.
They're giant snakes. Snakes don't take kindly to
No,
snakes.
they're eels.
They're eels.
Eels are awesome.
Let's just get inside this
Yeah,
building.
can we move around to the? I'm assuming the front since that was back and that was the side.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my gun out.
Or do you want to move it?
No, you can go ahead.
So are we going over here?
Well, I don't
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Or do we want to stay behind cover?
I'm going to, before I go over there, I'm gonna look in these trees and see or vegetation and see if I see anything.
All right, give me a perception check.
10.
10. I mean, you don't think that the vegetation would be big enough for
The giant eel.
for a creature that you just encountered. The rest of you,
Oh gosh.
But
What does that
you
lead
just
us
went
into?
a long way. So.
I don't know.
so you guys go over to what looks like a series of weathered pillars that arc around the entrance of the temple, marking a curving border around a small plaza. And you definitely see movement. There is some kind of a creature, some kind of humanoid creature there. And he sees you and he starts shouting at you guys in Elven.
Oh, I know Elven.
All right? Yeah, he, that is a very good question. One that we will answer after this break.
Woohoo!
So
okay.
be sure to join us again on Wednesday to find out the conclusion of this horrible, horrible situation that may not be horrible depending on the outcome.
This questionable situation.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and you know the rest.
Did Gregor find a place to use the dead?
That wasn't his pie. Find out later. Tonight at
Will
12.
I have my babies?